Hello and welcome to my first official testing of Stygian Onslaught. I will be taking Neuvillette in because I think he is the character we will see probably do the worst here. Not in the worst as in, oh, he's super bad now. The worst is in comparatively to what he can do with AoE and stuff, oh my god. However, without AoE and without, every single one of his best supports with Kazo, Shield, and Furina, right? Or Mavuika, right? If we're not adding all those characters onto his team, let's see what he can look like. Now, this does kind of suck because it doesn't want to about reset me. So, my record for the record, my time is 182. I guarantee this is gonna go down, but my time is 182. Do not at me. It is also pretty nice that, oh wait, actually, is Skirk technically going to be the best in slot on this team? Because there's not, I think she is, right? Because I can't use anybody else. Like, who am I gonna use? Yelan, Kokomi, like those characters we're not gonna use, right? I think Skirk is technically the best option here. So, all right, burst Skirk, let's see how it goes. Okay, let's see. All right, big thing though, we're not gonna have energy, so this is a little not great. So here we are. We're gonna start with this, and we're gonna start doing damage like this. This is the only real way that I can think of doing stuff, and we don't have energy, chat. We don't have the energy. So let's go ahead. We're gonna pop that. Okay, one thing I can already notice, there's not a lot of cryo, so that hindered us pretty heavily by killing us. Not exactly what I meant to do. All right, chat, hold on. Here we go. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Let's disable the man. I guess this is kind of a tech that you could do. Like, it's not awful, like I wouldn't be, he was doing his laser beam thing, and we are actively trying to prevent him from doing his laser beam thing. So, it's not awful. And then Skirk comes in, does 200,000 damage. Yeah, sure. We do now have a full rotation. All right. I mean, Nevi's hitting, he's hitting 2,600. So I'm realizing, he either has an insane damage reduction specifically for this, or we need to, yeah, that's not great. All right, hold on. Is Nevi washed up? This is the issue right now with having these kind of characters. We just don't really have the ability to, use them fully. And this is kind of where I have to sit at and hope to disable this guy now. Yeah, this is where I'm at, chat. I don't really know what else to do. You could do this with your C0 Skirks and stuff. You could absolutely do it with your C0 Skirks and stuff, but this to me seems very, iffy. Yeah, there's like 1 million damage added to the Nevi rotation. Then here's 40,000, and then we can't do anything, right? Like, we're gonna just have to wait. Let's pop the E skill there. I don't really know if there's a cutoff here, or he's gonna build up all the way. Yeah, I think, okay. So, yeah, Nevi and Stygian, certainly not one. I wouldn't take him for my... All right, wait, hold on. He's in a different state now. Let me see. Maybe now that he's charged up, he won't just automatically have insane resistances. So let's... I held and... Oh, wait, I'm still on cooldown. Right, that's why. The only issue I see here is that he's on... Like, we were good there, right? We were doing good, but... we could tell, like, I'm pretty sure anybody with a brain could tell, like, who was actually carrying that rotation. Yeah, and we're not even gonna, yeah, so Nevi is washed up, and that would go for every single Hydra DPS, right? Like, this isn't enough cryo application. And yeah, eventually that caught up with me. Okay, I didn't expect it to go down like that. We're gonna retry. I'm gonna change up the team just a little bit. Instead of Skirk, who has to be on field for all of her stuff, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have Shinha. Insane team, I know, but if we're gonna try and actually beat this thing, obviously there is a very obvious answer to how we're gonna beat this thing. All right, let's just flat out say it. There's a very obvious answer to how we can beat the thing. I just don't want to use that obvious answer because, this is a Nevi showcase. I wanted to see Nevi in here, and, it's not really showing. All right, we're going to pop Miss Coffee's Q here, and then we're going to pop you and you. Let's go ahead here. Tap the E skill. Press the Q. I mean, it's not enough, right? It's just, like, I'm using Shinha's Q. It's not enough cryo, man. All right. I mean, listen, I tried to make him work. There is a way to make him work. Let's go ahead and do the way. Let's, you know, actually, you know, do the way. Not this team. No, we can't make it work on this team. There is a team that we can make it work on, though. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. I do wish that, you know, just like one cryo applicator off field should be enough. Is it possible that it's Fiorina's fault? Let me go ahead, switch back to Skirk. So let's check if maybe it's Fiorina's fault. Maybe Fiorina's getting in the way of, you know, Miss Coffee's cryo. So we're just, you know, checking out strategies, right? Just checking out strategies right now. So he's gonna do his whole thing. He's gonna do his whole thing. It's not negotiable. No, he's gaining power on that. The only way I could see maybe is to literally let's let him build up and see what happens. I really genuinely do not know what would happen. So let's let this guy build up and we'll see what happens without having to rely on Skirk to do all the damage for it. Oh my, he does 4. Okay. Okay. I don't think we can just let him. I was about to say, is that all right? So we can't just let him build up. All right. I mean, chat, I tried. I legitimately gave it my best attempt to not just let, you know, Skirk go ahead and take us over, because I do have a C2 Skirk, right? She is doing a lot for us, right? Obviously. But I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, let's go ahead. Let's drain him of his stuff, right? Let's drain him of his bar. Then he's gonna get knocked down or something, right? And then we're gonna do our rotation. Let's go ahead and do the rotation. You know, Skirk, or not Skirk, Miss Coffee, you, and then we'll go ahead, hold you, Q. All right, boom, a lot of damage. Then we have Nevi. I mean, it's not, you know, it's legitimately, it's just what, you know, it's gonna look like. All right, so now we're at this stage again. All right, let's go ahead, Miss Coffee, let's go. Hold with Skirk, then Q. That'll be a lot of damage, and we'll pop a Q with Miss Coffee, and we'll go ahead and pop in this, and we're still doing lower damage, so I need to switch back into Skirk through normals. Oh wait, no, I don't. All right, that was, it threw me off a little bit there. All right. Apparently, from what I can tell, if you keep them down a little bit, all right, let's, no. I don't want to rely on Miss Coffee too much, so let's see how much of damage we can do here without relying, or not Miss Coffee, Skirk. Skirk did a lot here. Let's be real. Skirk did a lot here. But if we can make this out, you know, and we can do a lot for ourselves, I think that's completely fine, right? I think we can look pretty good if we just do a lot of this for ourselves. So let's get the bar down. Let's get the bar down. We have to get the bar down. There's not negotiable. All right, let's go ahead. I keep adding an in to negotiable, and I'm really sorry about that. I notice it too. Don't worry. All right, here we go. We're still not doing damage? Okay. Dude, what am I supposed to do then? Like, every time I try and do damage with Nevi, it's like he just doesn't want to do damage. I mean, it's possible, right? Let's be real. It's possible, very, but I have to let I have to let Skirk go ahead and do all the damage, right? I have to let her do that, because we go in from using Skirk, right? And Skirk is just the better option here, right? I'm using Skirk on Nevi's team. I can't use Nevi. All right, I do think, though, that this is a fail, right? Like, I think Nevi's failed. There's no other boss you could do this with, right? You can't. From what I understand, let me go ahead. Let me check. I'll check. I really don't think that you can hit the Hydro Tulpa with Hydro, so I mean, I'll check. But again, I think this is just over. Yeah, I know he's immune. Yeah, I kind of understood that. Yeah, so I would not even consider Nevi a good option for this at all, right? Like, comparatively to, like, I mean, this guy, I was literally saying, what, 3rd best DPS before I went in here? Like, if we're talking about a update to update comparison, right? Like, if I'm saying who is the best character in this version for Genshin Impact, right? I don't think Nevi makes the list. I don't think in a top 10 for DPSs, Nevi makes the list. And he was number 3 before this event came out. So that's interesting. I can't, like, again, do you want me to just let Skirk do all the work for him and then just say it's a Nevi run? Because that's what's going to have to happen, right? Because he just simply can't. I'm sure a lot of you guys in the comments have already started talking like, this is why I hate this mode or something. But we do have to understand Nevi will get a time to be good in this. I don't think, from what I saw, simply just from what I saw in the HP total that was in this game mode, I don't think that it was an issue really with Nevi's damage. I think it's purely just him functioning with the boss, and he just doesn't function with any of the bosses that are lined up right now. So if you're going update to update, I wouldn't even put Nevi in the top 10, because I think right now this is the game mode that matters, right? I think this matters more than Spiral Abyss, because Spiral Abyss, guess what? Guess what we've been saying for, what, 5 years at this point? You know, Spiral Abyss, you can use any character and make them good. Guess what? You come into here, you can't just make every character good. Now, Nevi isn't just, you know, they're HP sponges, he can't clear within the time. I think he can. I think the main issue with Nevi lies within him just not having the ability to damage the bosses, right? Because you go against the Hydro Rock Dragon, super high resistance. You go against the, you know, cryo guy who he had a chance on, but he can't, like, you can't have the shield go down, right? You would need probably a triple cryo setup, and it's just like, I don't know how well that's gonna work, right? I guess I'll try. I can try. Maybe we do a triple cryo setup, and I mean, who do I use? I think it would have to be Chongyun. So we'll go ahead and use Chongyun a little bit here, because we're literally having the damage that we were doing before, right? At least with Nevi, you know, I mean, I guess I haven't used Skirk at all basically here, right? I've really just neglected to use Skirk at all, which, I mean, that is a tool that Nevi has. Skirk is a burst support style weird character. It's a whole weird thing. But Skirk is a support style who can do this, right? She can go ahead and she can do some damage, right? That's not something that, you know, is a nothing ability that, you know, Nevi can't use. If you want to play on-field Nevi, you can use a Skirk burst build, even if she is a, you know, main DPS most of the time. It's not, you know, you can do it. However, here, I think it's a little bit too much of a, you know, yeah, we're just relying on Skirk so much here. I think that's the main issue. I mean, here we can get some good damage off without having it. Well, nope, never mind. We can't. Yeah, Skirk can do all the damage basically, but again, this isn't Nevi, right? 25,000 damage, that's not Nevi. Nevi has a good team. Nevi can do damage. It's just in this team build where I'm using Chongyun to inflict my normal attacks with cryo so I can defeat his shield, it doesn't. And I don't really, I mean, maybe Rosaria, right? Maybe Rosaria can go ahead and replace Chongyun here, and they'll do triple cryo off field or whatever. I feel like you're putting so much, and it's just like, just use Skirk. If I was a Nevi main, a diehard Nevi main, and I really did not want to use Skirk as like my damage dealer, even I feel like I would eventually swallow my pride here and just use Skirk, because she's just better here. It's as simple as that. I'm like, genuinely, she is just better here because the boss just works so much well with her. It really is just as simple as be smart. You know, I get that you want to use your favorite character, but just, you know, it's one boss. That's all you got to do. Just, you know, you can use Nevi at some point else, but just use Skirk, right? Even if Nevi's a filler option on your team, he's at least doing something for, you know, Skirk, because she gives the, you know, normal attacks and stuff. I really do feel like this is kind of this. I mean, this shows the limitedness. I mean, you know, we were talking about, again, number 3 DPS before this event drops. Now he's not even on top 10. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm gonna need a little bit more time. This mode changes a lot of what we used to view in Genshin, right? We used to view Genshin as like, you know, sort of, you didn't have to worry about bosses and mechanics at all. You didn't. You really didn't. You could just go through and not care. But now bosses actually have annoying mechanics that make you match towards the type. And some people do genuinely feel like these are bad ways to do it. I do think that there is some level of like, that's not good, right? Like, we don't want it to be. I think the egregious thing is it's all 3. I think that's the issue. If it was just the cryo guy and that was it, right? You know, the other bosses were kind of normal. Maybe they had some high resistances against one element in particular, but it is all 3, man. It is all of them, because you definitely need a pyro character for this, or I've heard some people do hyper bloom with this. You definitely need, you know, something to deal with this. This guy is just annoying in general. He's a less egregious version of the other two, but you need to burn, you need to overload, whatever you need to do. You need to get this guy's stuff down, or you're not gonna damage him. Same with this guy. So these two enemies here are severely like hurting you. And then you're, Battlefield 1 here, it's just a really hard boss and really difficult to deal with because it's got the, minions and stuff that, you're gonna need cryo to deal with, by the way. Yeah, cryo is the #1 way to deal with this guy's minions. He's definitely good for this. I think we saw how much damage his team was doing. We can easily kill these bosses at this HP total. We need a little more. All we need is a boss that Nevi can actually work against, and that'll be fine. So I can tell that. However, I can't actually show you that. So I could say, like, oh yeah, I could totally see him, working completely fine with the bosses. And then it actually happens to where we get to work with the bosses again, maybe next update when they update the boss cycle. And then it's like, well, you actually don't do enough damage. And if that comes to the case, then we have to talk about how good Nevi is, because Nevi was good because he was easy to use and he did a lot of damage. Right, he did a lot of damage, and it was AoE central, just completely dominating the game whenever AoE was in the discussion, and even in single target, he was still a lot of damage. This guy now is stuck with only single target, so throw away the AoE, and the HP totals are pretty high, so it is possible that Nevi might not work that well against these HP totals. I don't know. I can only predict and assume based on what I saw here today that he will be fine, but I can't say for certain. I have an idea, chat. Will it work? I have no idea. So here is what we have here. We have Nevi, Mefwika, Emily, and Shilin. We'll see if this works. I really don't know if it's gonna. It could, it could genuinely, once we have him down, because we will be able to go in with all of the power. Let's see if it will work. I really don't know. It's possible it could. It's very possible that it doesn't. I don't want you guys to get your hopes up, because I really don't see this as something that is gonna happen. Again, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead now, and I'm gonna pop a Q with you. Let's just go and see how much damage we can do. So we see 42,000, 100,000 there from Vapes, and we didn't have enough energy. Are you serious? Are you serious? We didn't have enough energy? No, bro. Oh, wait, hold on, though. Hold on. That was actually not bad whatsoever. Okay. Very jank team. Very, very jank. But it worked. It did work. And Nevi, like I said, when he's able to do his damage, he's gonna be good. So now we have his burst. So we should be easily able to clear this. I'm just saying. I think we'll be able to easily clear this. So yeah, that's nice. That's nice. All right, sweet. All right, not bad at all. Not bad at all, chat. Yeah, not bad at all. We can have this happen. We're gonna wait this off. We're gonna wait it 20 seconds, but I'm not worried. I'm not. I really don't see a reason to be worried. All right, just a little bit more. Let's pop this. Okay, let's pop a Mevwika Q. All right, Nevi E skill, and come on. Okay, apparently, dude, are you serious? It's gonna do that to me? Are you serious? No. All right, we're good. We got it basically on the wire, but we're good. We did get it. We did get it. All right, so he's able to do something, right? He is, right? Again, when he's able to do his damage, he's gonna be good. Okay, so that really does, it changes things, but by how much, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's interesting because it's one of those things where it's like, this was all Nevi's damage, really. Because, like, we did do Mevwika, but I never melted or vaped, right? With Mevwika, right? I never used Nevi and, oh, let me apply some Hydro and then I'm going to vape with Mevwika. No, this was Nevi doing a burn team and it worked successfully and it wasn't that bad. Had I had his burst up, give me a little bit more energy recharge that first run, and it would have been very easily like, oh yeah, we have this in the bag. We have this in the bag after this second run, right? And I didn't even do the first run properly, right? So I'm be honest, okay, he's not bad. He really isn't. He could do 1 out of the 3. 1 out of the 3. I mean, that, is about what most characters could do if we're being entirely honest. Like, I think Mavwika can do 2 out of the 3. Skirk can probably do 2 out of the 3 because you would use Skirk against the Hydro Tulpa. Sure, the Hydro damage will be immune, but Skirk's gonna destroy anything with a Hydro Tulpa, right? Yeah. So, all right, I would, yeah, Nevi, I don't think he's out of the top 10, although I don't know what the top 10 exactly looks like, again, because it's new, everything's new here. He's effective, right? He'll be effective for any stage that he's usable on in the future, basically. I think that's where we kind of have to look at characters and understand what stages are they ever going to be useful on, right? Because Skirk, she's going to be useful on the, stages that allow her to use Hydro and Cryo, basically. That really does come down to what's going to be useful for her. Nevi, you would have thought that Freeze would have been useful for him on the, Cryo guy, but it wasn't. It wasn't enough Cryo, so it simply was just like, no. So you need to be a Cryo main DPS there. So, there are going to be teams where, it's like Freeze. But Nevi, I feel like, is probably going to end up being one of the better characters still for this. Because if you think about it, Nevi has options and he's able to use different team archetypes. He's able to use a Hyper Bloom team, right? He's able to use, other teams, right? I don't want to, put Nevi into the Hydro Tulpa, by the way, in a Hyper Bloom team. Because that really isn't a Nevi team. Because the guy literally cannot damage the Hydro Tulpa. I know people have done Hydro Tulpa from Hyper Bloom, but I don't think that would count as a Nevi team when the guy literally can provide nothing. Like, he actually is doing nothing for the team. So I don't think I would ever count that as a Hydro Tulpa team. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.